Ready? Everybody excited, I hope? It's going to be a great evening. Welcome to the 2011 Billiard Congress of America Hall of Fame Banquet. Thanks, that's all I got. You've been great. We'll start dinner in just a moment. I'd like to make a few introductions and say a few thank yous. I'm Mike Pinozzo. I'm here representing the United States Billiard Media Association, which in conjunction with the Billiard Congress of America has produced this evening's banquet. Additionally, this event's been supported financially by friends of the industry, and that's to say friends of the players and friends of the game. I'd like to introduce some of those people right now. First, I'd like to introduce the board chairman for the Billiard Congress of America, Mike Serra. Mike is from BNR Championship, who is one of the sponsors and supporters of the event. Also, BCA CEO Rob Johnson. Other supporters here tonight are Skip Nemisek of Tweet and Fiber, Ivan Lee of Iwan Simonis, Carl Galante of Classic Q in Buffalo. Thank you, Carl. We also got support from Diamond Billiard Products and Q Sports International. I'd also like to recognize some members of the United States Billiard Media Association who are here. Sherry Stout, Pool and Billiard Magazine. J.R. Calvert, Sally Timko of Inside Pool. Nick Leiter of Billiards Digest. Mike Howerton and Jerry Forsythe of AZ Billiards. And my main doorman, Ricky Bryant. This is the third year that we've held this banquet here at the U.S. Open, and I've always said it's the perfect place to hold this banquet because this is where all the great players are and this is where all the great fans come to watch those great players. And it gives an opportunity to pay the respects to players who reach the pinnacle in getting into the Hall of Fame. And I do want to recognize Barry Berman and his daughter Shannon for all the help that they've given me and helped put this together. Tonight we had two fabulous players and two great ambassadors of the game into the Hall of Fame. One continues to entertain us with his great humor and insight on video matches, while the other selfishly continued to add world titles to his resume, clearly after we had already sent out the press release on his Hall of Fame election. I think this year's Hall of Fame election also points once again to the global nature of today's game. Last year we inducted Francisco Bustamante, who was the second Filipino player to be inducted. 2 years ago we inducted Alison Fisher, who was the first British player to be inducted. Ralf Souquet of Germany is the first European male player to ever be elected to the BCA Hall of Fame. I'm also personally proud to say that Danny Diliberto is the third Italian American to be elected into the Hall of Fame. So in the spirit of this international atmosphere, auguri, Danny. È sempre un piacere introdurre un nuovo giocatore italiano nella Hall of Fame. Bravo, buonissimo. Und Ralf, lieber Ralf, herzlichen Glückwunsch zur Hall of Fame. Du hast es verdient.
Vielen Dank.
And I mean that. And I truly mean that. Now, for those of you who don't speak Italian, what I said to Danny was, congratulations, Danny. It's always a pleasure to introduce another Italian to the Hall of Fame. And who's the favorite in the third race at Pimlico? And for those of you who don't speak German, to Ralph, I said, congratulations, Ralph. You're very deserving of being in the Hall of Fame, but I have to be honest with you, I voted for Oliver Ortman. So, in any event, we're running a little bit tight on time, so I'm going to get out of your way. Everybody enjoy dinner. We'll be back to introduce some special Hall of Fame guests we have here tonight, and then welcome our new Hall of Famers into the pool's most hallowed halls. Thank you. Enjoy. To me, the Hall of Fame is the highest achievement, the greatest achievement you can get in any sport, because it's the validation of an entire career. And some of our players' careers extend beyond the Hall of Fame induction, but it's still a validation of all their achievements. Before we formally introduce Ralph and Danny this evening, I'd like to call attention to some living Hall of Famers that have joined us here tonight. Now I'm going to introduce them right now. I always like to say that Pat Fleming is to billiards what the Smithsonian is to U.S. history. A great player in his own right, and I remember one of the first true wizards of the jump cube. Pat introduced pool to statistics in the 80s with the creation of AccuStats. And what started as a statistics project evolved into what is now the largest library of pool footage in the world. In AccuStats, the game's history has been preserved, and I don't think you can ever overstate how important that is. Inducted in 2008, Pat Fleming. Pool has a lot of gems, but there's only one pearl. Few players in the history of the game can match Earl Strickland's toe court. 6-time world 9-ball champion, 5 times U.S. Open 9-ball champion, the winner of more than 60 Pro Tour titles, and 9-time member of Team USA in the Moscone Cup. He's always been a tireless contributor of his time to charitable causes, has contributed plenty of great stories for us journalists. Inducted in 2006, the one and only Earl the Pearl Strickland. A man of few words, and none of them fast. Nick Varner has always led his playing to the talk. He was a 2-time collegiate straight pool champion at Purdue University and has won 2 world straight pool titles. He proved to be an equally great 9-ball player with a deceptively powerful break for his size. In 1989, he actually won 8 Pro Tour titles in 16 tournaments, half of the schedule. Inducted in 1992, Nick Varner. You can't hide talent. When Alan Hopkins was just a youth, he was already given the nickname Young Hoppy in reference to Q legend Willie Hoppy. Hopkins made his first big splash in 1977, winning the PPPA World Straight Pool title. When the game changed to 9-ball and 10-ball, Hopkins was still one of the best in the world, winning pro titles over 3 decades, including the Denver Open as late as 1999. He's also the creator of the wildly successful Super Billiard Expo, inducted in 2008, Alan Hopkins. So now it's time to introduce this year's Hall of Fame inductees. Should be a great part of the evening. To start things off, I'd like to introduce Pat Fleming, who will introduce us to Danny Diliberto. Pat?
Danny Diliberto was born on February 19th, 1935, which puts him at 76 years young. He was born and raised in Buffalo, New York. He's been on the road his whole life, a gambler and hustler for most of it. He gambled to survive. As a youngster, Danny was very athletic and excelled in a variety of sports. At 20 years old, Danny served as an outfielder for a Double-A minor league baseball team. But even before that, at a local boys' club at age 13, Danny was introduced to boxing. So, at 22 years old, boxing became what Danny wanted most in life. His trainer-manager was Angelo Dundee. Dundee, a few years later, became Muhammad Ali's and Sugar Ray Leonard's trainer. Quite a portfolio. Although going undefeated in 14 fights, as a lightweight, Danny's fragile hands, which he broke 4 times, defined the limits of his boxing career. And so, at the age of 25, Dundee told Diliberto that he was a great fighter, but his hands were too fragile and that he should quit boxing to spare himself of crippling hands. Soon after, Danny took up bowling, seriously. A few years into that, he was averaging .210, which included a handful of perfect 300 games. During his bowling career, he was also a pro-level pool player, running 308 balls the same day he bowled one of those 300 games. At 26, Danny won the Buffalo City Straight Pool Championship, the first tournament that he entered, but didn't think much of it at the time. Yet, the combination of winning that tournament, the successful release of the movie The Hustler, and the reading of a Sports Illustrated article on the Johnston City tournament, Danny became more focused on pool. Since then, Danny's been around the pool scene for over 50 years. He's won major titles in 4 different disciplines: 8-ball, 9-ball, straight pool, and 1-pocket. And he did that over 4 decades. He started going to major profile events to gamble, profiting at that time from tournament competitions, just didn't make it. One of his fondest memories was at age 37. At one of the famous Johnston City tournaments, after winning the straight pool division, he went on to beat the 9-ball and 1-pocket winners to capture the prestigious title of World All-Around Champion. Twice he was edged out at the BCA US Open Straight Pool Championship by fellow Hall of Famers Joe Balsas and Steve Miserak. He traveled internationally, both teaching and competing. He won 4 events after age 62. And during that time, he won the French Open in Paris, that country's 9-ball title. Danny played and beat all of the greats during his playing career. And if you beat him, you beat one of the greats. He's been featured in a variety of billiard instructional and biographical videos and books, television interviews, and has been profiled in Sports Illustrated. Danny's athleticism is certainly an attraction, but for the people that know him personally, they know him as an honest and caring individual whose personality can't help but draw you nearer to him. His stories will keep you riveted, and you'll never hear him swear. And of course, last but not least, for the last 20 years, Danny has been part of the Accustats family, and for that I will be forever grateful. We have a short video that lasts a couple of minutes, but I think you and Danny will enjoy it. The first section was provided by Diana Hopley. Thank you, Diana. The next short clip shows Danny doing some on-camera work for Accustats. And the final clip will remain a surprise for both you and Dan. So please, when you're ready, please start the video. Here's Danny at 14 years old, proving he went to high school. 13 years old, local boys club. Boxing, picture it, 22 years old. Fighting in the ring at 24 years old. A photo after rolling a 300. Winning his first event at 26 years old. World Straight Pool Championship, Burbank, California, 31 years old. 37, taking a vacation in Montana. Learn from the very best, the best group at 47 years old. Winning the World Mixed Doubles on television with Robin Bell. Worldwide of Sports, U.S. Open Finals, 37 years old. Fishing in Florida Keys. And at 74, still throwing jabs. And here he is with the voice of Acustats.
Well, I'll tell you how he plays. You know the old saying, the best move is 8 and out? You leave this guy a shot and he's just getting 8, you know, just about every time if there's a chance.
Hey, Danny,
Dundee.
I'm not surprised you're being inducted in the Brilliance Hall of Fame. You belong in a lot of Hall of Fames. Let me tell you, they told me about you in Fort Lauderdale with those baseball players throwing that golf ball over the waterway. And the baseball players couldn't do it. What was the trick, Danny? You must have had a hell of an arm. You throw that golf ball all over the waterway. I heard there was little side bets in there, too. But, Danny, I can't tell you how proud I am of you. Congratulations. You would have been the world champion if you didn't keep breaking your hands. I guess the Brilliance is a little easier. Congratulations, Dan.
There you go. Angelo Dundee. And so, ladies and gentlemen, for all of the reasons brought forth to you today, this man has been chosen and now finally been inducted into the BCA Hall of Fame. So it is with great pleasure to introduce my loyal, trusting, and beloved friend, Danny Diliberto.
Make sure we give him the right one. There you go. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, I got to admit, I knew a little bit about the film there, but I didn't know they had Angelo Dundee on it. You know, we've been friends for over 50 years, Angelo and I. A great man, cared about his fighters. But anyway, we'll skip the fighting because I'm too old to do that. But I have to say this. It's a great honor to be inducted into this Hall of Fame, and it's extra special to be inducted with that man, Ralf Souquet. A great champion, always a gentleman, but Ralph, I got a confession to make. The other day, someone come up to me in the tournament, and they said, Danny, in your prime, do you think you would have beat Ralf Souquet? Ralph, I hope you're not mad. I said yes. But, in all fairness, in my prime, Ralph was 3 years old. I would have beat him. I would have beat him. Anyway, I don't have anything prepared, but I want to share some memories over the years. And I'm going to go back to the beginning, you know, like when I first went to Johnson City, you know, the article in Sports Illustrated, I think it was called Hustler Jamboree. Am I right there? And when I went there, it was unbelievable. It was like 3 in the morning when I got there. It was like mid-afternoon. Everybody was playing, gambling. And then I found out that that area had 10 girls to every man. You know, they didn't look real good. But after a week or 10 days, they got prettier. You know, in fact, they had a beauty contest there one year, and nobody won. I hope nobody's here from Johnson City. But then, it was a great event. My good friend Billy in Cardona, he's maybe one of the last ones with me alive that were there all the time, you know. And I just want to thank all you people, all my friends. I got Sherm here, Brian, Mike. I got Gary, Tony C., Ozzy, Billy in Cardona, Warren, Amanda, Diana Hoppy, who is very special to me. Because, you know, last year I was very ill. And the only way I could get out of the hospital was Diana drove from South Carolina through a snowstorm to bail me out of the hospital because I needed someone to take care of me. I live alone. Great. A little hand for her. And once she was there, Amanda joined her, and I had 2 nurses. Of course, Diana really aggravated me to death because she was on me all the time to do my therapy exercises. I said, Diana, I am doing it. She said, no, you did more in the hospital. You got to do more. She drove me crazy, but I love her. She's great. So, moving on to the memories. After Johnson City, I was invited to a tournament in Burbank, California, 1966, 17-player invitational. The tournament lasted a month, tuxedos and all that, and it happened to be Joe Balsas beat Mosconi. They talked Mosconi into coming out of retirement, but really they bribed him. The first place prize money was $5,000, and they gave Mosconi $10,000 wherever he finished, and 5% of the gate nightly, which he went in the office and got it every night. He really did. But anyway, talking about Joe Balsas, I did not like Joe Balsas. I played in many big matches, final matches, and I didn't like him. And then one day, I heard that he was a racetrack horse betting degenerate. I liked him immediately. It was like a light switch. You know, I couldn't even figure out what I didn't like about him before that. You know? And the tournaments out west, after that, Fred Whalen had straight pool tournaments every year in February in the Los Angeles area. And that's the same time that Santa Anita is open. So in the day, a lot of us went to the track. And speaking about the track, Cicero Murphy, another Hall of Famer, and I went to Santa Anita one day. We got to the track a half hour before the first race, and Cicero said, Danny, lend me $20. I said, Cicero, you can't be broke. The races didn't even start yet. He said, oh, I got money to bet with. He said, I need the 20 to eat. True story. And in Burbank, I was roomed with Richie Florence, 28-day tournament. Some of you people may not know Richie Florence. He was a great player in the West Coast, gambler, and he was a young man in the tournament. So it was a round-robin tournament. which means everybody plays everybody. So when it was Richie Florence's turn to play Moscone, he was a nervous wreck. And Weenie Beanie, who some of you people will remember, he said, Richie, you're nervous. There's a bar across the street. Go there, order a martini, drink it, get another one to go, bring it to the table, and sip it during the match. Richie went across the street all right. He drank 7 martinis. And Willie Moscone beat him 150 to -8. True story. Really. So now, Mike Benoza might remember this. I don't know if he's old enough, but in 1966.
1966?
Well, most people know about this. Jimmy Karras came out of retirement, another Hall of Famer, and he played in the tournament. And he lost his first 2 matches, and he was out. I beat him, and Dallas West beat him, and he was out. I said, the poor old man, why is he doing this to himself? The next year, the U.S. Open was in St. Louis, 1967. Jimmy Karras was there again. He lost his first match. I said, oh, the poor guy. He's lost 3 in a row. Poor old guy. He then won 11 in a row and beat Lassiter to win the tournament. Really. And speaking of Lassiter, the first big tournament I won was 1969 in Arlington, Virginia, the Masters tournament. I'm playing Lassiter in the Final 4, and I won the leg. Lassiter broke. I ran 66 balls, and I missed a Mickey Mouse easy bank. And Lassiter jumped up out of his chair, ran to the table, wanted to put powder on his hand, and he poured ice water all over his hand. This is in the Washington Post. Really, it happened. It happened. And of course, we all know Lassiter, great player. But some of the great players, I had a great record over. Lassiter. I beat Earl Strickland a number of times. He used to get mad. He would say, how can someone over 50 beat me? Right, Earl? Right? Yeah, he would. But anyway, what? Never mind. But anyway, I was a very poor sport. I mean, I took it hard when I lost. I would go to my room and hide. One year in L.A., my good friend Ed Kelly, we were very close, he came up to me one day and he says, Danny, I found a spot with a lot of hot women. He said, we got to go there tonight. I said, well, I got a match. I was playing a guy named Wayne Norcross, West Coast straight pool player, good player, but never a champion. So Ed said, after the match, we're going to this spot. I said, okay. Wayne Norcross beat me. So I didn't want to go. Ed Kelly talked me into going, and we were in there 15 minutes, and Ed says, well, what do you think? I said, oh, a lot of beautiful women here. I said, but they all look like Wayne Norcross. So anyway, I don't want to keep you here. I could tell stories all night here, but there's one remark that I really hate. It's when someone's bragging on you and they say, he forgot more than you ever knew. I hate that remark for one big reason. What do you think it is? I never forgot anything. Well, anyway, I want to thank everybody. You're all beautiful, and all the people that were nice to me. And I want to dedicate all this to my daughter, Amber Rose, who has an incurable disease now, 5 years. Amber, I love you. God bless you. This goes into the Classic Q in Buffalo, New York, where my good friend Carl and his wife became my adopted parents. Really. Thank you again.
That's an acceptance speech. That's awesome. In the interim, we were graced by the presence of another Hall of Famer who I'd like to take just a minute to introduce very quickly. Inducted in 2009, Johnny Archer started his pro career at the age of 19. He's been winning titles ever since. He's a two-time World 9-Ball champion, a U.S. Open champion, and was named a Player of the Decade for the 90s. He's been the top American pool player for almost a generation, and he continues to add titles to his resume. Ladies and gentlemen, Johnny Archer. I'd also like to take a quick second to introduce an old friend of mine who was here at last year's Hall of Fame banquet. We gave him a cue at that time, and I'm anxious to find out how he's been doing with it. I'd like to introduce you to the Mayor of Chesapeake, the Honorable Alan Krasnoff.
Good evening. Oh, they're not even listening to me. I have nothing to add to the Hall of Fame. Come on. Come on, I understand, you know. Give me a moment at least to welcome you here. It's a tough crowd. This is a tough crowd. You laughed at him. I mean, come on. They've been laughing for 30 years. Huh? Well, first of all, Mike Spinoza, thank you so much for the opportunity. And President Rob Johnson, it's just great to see you again. And it is always great to be at the Billiard Congress of America Hall of Fame banquet. First of all, give yourselves an incredible hand. I'll tell you, I had the opportunity, Danny Diliberto, to listen to him, and what a tremendous person, obviously, to be inducted. I congratulate you. I'm sorry I would not be able, Ralf Souquet, to stay here to listen to you, because you see, in Chesapeake, I got to get to go where the barbecue is. I live on barbecue. I do. It's Chesapeake. I hope you have the staple of Chesapeake, barbecue and fried chicken. It's awesome. But again, we just so grateful that you choose Chesapeake. And I got to tell you, you got such a fan in Barry Berman. Thank you so much, sir. Barry truly loves all of you. I got to tell you, he has to make sure that I come. I don't know what I add to this, but I do know this, that it's enjoyable to know that you have graced us with your presence in Chesapeake. Just to give you just a moment about Chesapeake, Virginia, you happen to be in a city that is 21st out of 50 cities on a 50-city list of all the thousands and thousands of cities across the United States. Chesapeake was chosen 21 on the Bloomberg's Business Week list as being a place to live and work. That's an honor, indeed. Chesapeake. Why are you taking their picture? I'm the one who's on. So anyway, my own TV station. You know, I'm trying to give the good, you know. Telling you. It's not an election year even. It's not even an election year. But secondly, do you know back-to-back years, Parenting Magazine looked at us and put us in the top 50 in Parenting Magazine, again, as a city that people want to live and work here and raise their families. We appreciate that so much. Money Magazine even recognizes us as being in the top 100. In fact, I believe we're number 85 on their list. Chesapeake, Virginia, for a city that has only 225,000 people, believe it or not, has a tremendous educated workforce. How do I know that, you may ask? Thank you for asking. I'm working with you here. I'm working with you here. We have 100% accreditation for our school system. That's incredible. 100%. and over 90% graduation rate. Yes, indeed. That's incredible. Chesapeake is indeed a place we are so grateful that you choose here. I'm so glad that Barry always tries and does his best to make sure that you at least have Chesapeake on the map. God bless you all. Thank you all. Appreciate it. And you're too kind. And guess what? I'm now going to go to the Hickory Road 10 Club, and guess what? Have barbecue.
Thank you, Mayor Krasnoff. It's nice of you to stop by. We're going to first show a little video, and I want to preface this. We had a Matchroom Productions try to do a very nice job with a video, and it kind of broke apart a little bit. So this is going to be a little piecemeal, but we think it's important to see every piece that was supposed to be in this video because they'll all mean a lot to Ralph, and I'm sure they'll mean a lot to you. So, Skip, you want to roll the video?
When I started playing pool in 1992, I was 12 years old, and Ralf was already one of the major players in Europe. And I remember being 13 years, driving to other cities just to watch him play, and he was a role model for me back then, and not only for me, but for an entire generation.
Face says it all. Ralf Souquet is the champion! 9-4 against Reyes!
Kumusta ka na? Ito, binabati kita sa pagiging Hall of Famer mo.
Hey, Ralf Souquet, my man. Congratulations to become a Hall of Fame this year. And you deserve it because you play well, you know, and you play a lot of tournaments. And you are my best friend, you know, for a long time. You take care, okay? And I hope, you know, I see you many times in tournaments. So God bless and congratulations again in Hall of Fame. Calvo.
For me personally, he is the best player ever. And I'm not talking only about achievements. I mean, the list is endless. He must have won more than 200 or 300 tournaments. But his whole personality, he's just so dedicated.
There can't be a player that's more deserving than you, Ralph. 6 World Masters champions, 14 appearances in the Mosconi Cup, the biggest win record of any European player. Ralph, your career has been an unprecedented success and speaks volumes for you as a player and a man. You've brought a lot of credit to the game of pool and to your country, of course. It's been a pleasure working with you over the last 20 years. I hope we go on for another 20.
He's still at the peak of his career. He still has so many goals to reach, and he still be a major threat for me and for all other players out there. So Ralf, I want to say congratulations. You deserve it. I love you, and I see you on the road.
Wir freuen uns, dass so ein großartiger Billardspieler wie Ralf jetzt in die Hall of Fame aufgenommen ist, und das ja, finden wir schön als Borussen-Fan, und ja, so ein Billardspieler, ja, Gratulation dazu.
Hallo Ralf, ich freue mich sehr, dass du als erster Deutscher in die Hall of Fame aufgenommen wurdest, und ja, und das auch noch als Gladbach-Fan, und ich wünsche dir alles Gute und herzlichen Glückwunsch dazu.
Hello Ralf. On behalf of the European pool community, I want to congratulate you with the acceptance in the Hall of Fame, especially because you are the first European male pool player in this list. You won a lot of titles in your career, but I think this one will be very special to you. There's no doubt that you are a great player, but this title shows also that you are a great ambassador for our sport. I don't have to mention that you as a player and great ambassador for our sport are very professional. You show us that we can combine professionalism and also promotion. And for this, the European pool community should be very thankful. Ralf, have a great evening. Enjoy all the compliments. You deserve it.
Hallo, mein Junge. Wir möchten dir herzlichst gratulieren zu der Ehrung die Aufnahme in die Hall of Fame. Ralf, wir beide sind sehr stolz auf dich. Für deinen weiteren Weg wünschen wir dir alles erdenklich Gute und freuen uns, wenn wir dich und Illy mal wieder drücken können. Bis bald, Mutti und Pa.
How cool was that? There were some scenes in there that there were a couple of players from Ralph's favorite soccer team in Germany, Borussia, who gave their congratulations, as well as Gry Lenders, the president of the European Pocket Billiard Federation, and last but not least, Ralph's parents, who gave their best wishes. I thought his mother was very adorable. Again, for those of you who don't speak German, she basically congratulated him on being a champion, but couldn't understand how he had become such a perfectionist because he was such a messy child and never cleaned his room. Also, your father speaks entirely too much. In any event, have you met Thomas Overbeck? Can I bring Thomas up to introduce Ralf? Thank you.
Dear ladies and gentlemen, lieber Ralf, I would like to join all of you here in congratulating this year's Hall of Fame inductees, Danny Diliberto and Ralf Souquet. I am much honored to be chosen as the laudator for Ralf Souquet, and I would like to express my sincere thanks to Jim Weich, the EPBF and Matchroom Sport, who cooperated with me on this presentation. Ralf is a long-time good friend of mine. Citing all of his playing accomplishments would mean spending the better part of the evening up here, and I think I would get in trouble with Mike if I would do that, so I'd rather keep it nice and short for you, ladies and gentlemen. Allow me to take you on a short journey through Ralf Souquet's life. World titles in both 9-ball and 8-ball, US Open titles in 9-ball and in straight pool, a World Games gold medalist in 9-ball, a 4-time Mosconi Cup winner with Team Europe. 3 times he has been voted Player of the Year by US billiard publications, Player of the Year in Europe, multiple European and German champion in 8-ball, 9-ball and straight pool. And to top it all, he just recently captured the World Pool Masters for an unprecedented 6th time and followed that up by partnering Thorsten Hohmann to the World Cup of Pool title. Coming home to Europe, he then took the Euro Tour title in Hungary to win 3 out of 5 Euro Tour events so far. Isn't that amazing, ladies and gentlemen? One can only wonder what he will have achieved when he finally closes the book on his playing career. That is Ralf's public side, and I assume we all have our experiences with him as a player, as an organizer, or simply as a fan. Opponents very often fear him, organizers usually want him, and fans love him. It would be very easy for me to talk about what many of us here today have all experienced with him over the years, as we have seen him grow as a player and witnessed his abilities. But again, we only have the one day. He is the consummate professional on and off the pool table and constantly seeks to improve himself as both a player and a person. But Ralf's life has not always been smooth sailing. I was privileged to experience his first victory in a real intercontinental event at first hand. I was his roommate in Växjö, Sweden at the Challenge Cup in 1991 when he defeated Bobby Hunter in the final match and became the first European player ever to win an international 9-ball tournament with American and Asian participation. That was something special, and I think it could already be seen then that there was more to come from him. His ups that followed were very high, but he also had his shares of losing in his life. Let me quote Winston Churchill here. Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. My friend Ralf always continued. He stood up when he was down, and he continued on his way to perfection, never being satisfied, always looking for excellence. I asked him in an interview after the tournament in Hungary just recently whether he thinks he is on his prime time right now, having won 3 major tournaments in a row. Guess what he replied? I think I can still improve. That is what makes Ralf special. When many athletes are in a position of offering an acceptance speech for an accolade such as will be bestowed on him today, many times they will thank their chosen sport for what it has provided them and their families. In his case, I believe the opposite is true. I think it is the sport that owes him a debt of gratitude for what he has given to it. His level of dedication and professionalism are key ingredients that stand out in my mind, especially when people have asked me about him. His conduct at venues, dealing with fellow players and fans, or even in the heat of battle, has never been anything short of exemplary. He always carries himself with class and with distinction. He is a player that other players measure themselves by. Being a great player requires tremendous desire, dedication, and sacrifice. Being a great person requires so much more. Today, the Hall of Fame will be welcoming in a great person who just happens to be a great player, and my friend too. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my privilege and honor to introduce to you today, for induction into this year's Billiard Congress of America Hall of Fame, Mr. Ralf Souquet.
Woof. That was hard. Dear Mr. President, members of the United States Billiards Media Association, honored guests, dear players and friends. What an honor for me to stand here today in front of you. First, I would like to congratulate Danny Diliberto for his induction. He's been a friend and a great player, a great commentator for many years. I never really had a chance to watch him playing, so I just had to go by people's opinions and people's thoughts, but he's definitely a great commentator. And besides that, he's a really cool and good guy. So again, congrats, Danny, for a greatly deserved honor. When I first got the message that I was inducted into the BCA Hall of Fame, I was very amazed. And my first thought was, am I that old already? Well, I guess I am, even though it doesn't feel like it yet. When I'm looking back to my career, which started in 1974 at my parents' pub, I didn't know about the Hall of Fame, any tournaments, or any other championships. After hitting balls around for about a couple of years, my father saw some talent in me. So he took me in his car, drove me around to tournaments and league days within about 20-mile radius. And this is where it all started. I was a little surprised that I saw my parents there today. And obviously it's a really, really pity that they couldn't be here, but that's for several other reasons. But on the other hand, it's a good thing, because they wouldn't understand my English speech anyways. My daughter also is not here yet, but there's also a reason for that. But I can only say, Mom, Dad, Celine, I really miss you. The first milestone was winning the German championships in the pupils division in 1983 at age 14. After the event, Horst von den Hoff, former president of the WPA and the EPBF, recruited me for his team in his town Alsdorf, where I began playing in the German National League. And he teamed me up with some great German players back then, where I was able to learn from and team up with to develop my game. My first step on US soil was in 1989, when I visited fellow Hall of Famer Jim Rempe at his hometown in Scranton, Pennsylvania. We went to his house, played straight pool for about 5 days. You know, he showed me a few little things here and there, and he gave me some hints and advices. And after the event, we drove to the BC Open in Binghamton, New York, where I made my first, footprints on the US pool scene by finishing 4th. It took almost exactly 9 years before I was able to win a tournament in the United States. That happened to be at the Sands Regency Open in Reno, Nevada. In the finals, I took down nobody less than the magician himself, Efren Batareas, who, in my opinion, is the best player that ever picked up a cue. Several other events followed, like 2 times the BCA Open, as well as 3 times the Derby City Classic in the 9-ball division. Not to forget 2 US Open titles, 2000, the one in New York City, and 2002 here in Chesapeake. And I think a lot of you people still remember the dramatic finish. It was the first televised, or I should say the first live pay-per-view event for billiards, and about, I think, 1.5 minutes before the live stream went black, I made the final 9-ball. And believe me, I can still feel the jitters. Further wins that I regard very important were the World 9-ball Championships in '96 in Borlänge, Sweden, 2008 the World 8-ball Championships in Fujairah, United Arab Emirates, 2009 I won the gold medal at the World Games in Taiwan, Kaohsiung, and not to forget the 6 World Pool Masters titles, the last one just recently, a few weeks ago, and of course the World Cup of Pool together with my partner Thorsten Hohmann. All these achievements would not have been possible without the help of a lot of fans, supporters, and sponsors. It would probably take too long to mention each and every one of them right now, but anyhow, I would like to mention a few of them. Very important, and the very first sponsor that ever helped me was the Fight Group out of Germany. Holger Fight is supporting me up to this day since the year 1987. Secondly on the list, Secondly on the list is Simonis Cloth. They are supporting me since 1993, and the President and USA representative, Ivan Lee, is here with us today. Thank you, Ivan. But I don't want to forget to mention all my other current sponsors, obviously, which there are Brunswick Billiards, Universal Cues, Predator Products, Kamui Tips, Stroke Sports Cases, and the Q-Wiz. I hope that all other sponsors that helped me out throughout my career forgive me for not being mentioned today, but as I said before, it would probably take too long. but thanks to each and every one of them. As a professional sportsman in an individual sport, there are a lot of ups and downs throughout a career. Not to mention how many sacrifices we have to make. We have to sleep in hotels with different beds, live out of a suitcase, more or less, have to deal with jet lag, different time zones, and need to spend a lot of time away from home and in the airplane to get to all the tournaments. But I still love it, even though it's getting harder on my body, I can tell. Making and having friends all over the world is one of the better sides of the story. How many people can say that? I was able to make my hobby or to turn my hobby into my profession, and I'm very, very thankful for that. But today's induction into the BCA Hall of Fame in the category Greatest Players is the absolute highlight of my career. That make all the downs worthwhile. It's like the icing on the cake for many great things that happened in the past. Behind a successful man, there's usually a strong woman. Now it gets a little emotional. Tonight is one of the very rare occasions where my lovely wife Illy can be with us. Obviously, it is not very easy for anybody who is married to someone like me, who is away from home so much and so many times. She does not only cope with it, but she also gives me the strength and the confidence to make me feel good, no matter how far away from home I am. A part of today's honor that I have received definitely belongs to her. Honey, I cannot say it often enough. Thanks for all your love and your support. And if we weren't married already, I would have to propose today. Most of the time, it is more or less under my control, whether I win a tournament or not. Tonight, it is different. Many other people have decided that I should be or should belong to the elite circle of fine billiard celebrities that make up the BCA Hall of Fame. I'm very grateful for and thankful for, very proud of that. I would like to thank all of you for the great honor, for the huge honor, and I wish everybody a great night. And now let's enjoy this. Thank you very much.
I want to thank everyone for coming out tonight. I especially, one thing I really love about this is how we're surrounded by greatness here with all the Hall of Famers and the inductees. I also want to thank the players who came out tonight, Mika and Torsten, Kim, Charlie, Rodney, Mark, Brandon. I think, these are the players who are going to be up here in the years to come, and it shows a lot that they come out here and show their respect for their contemporaries. So everybody else, thank you very much for coming. We look forward to seeing you again next year. Have a great night.